IVM.
Alright, Simplified is where they take stories that you can't understand and make it even more difficult to understand. If you need that in your life, it's called marriage. Simplified, 3 young men with a mission. Their names, Chuck, Naren and Sriket. That's right, simplify their names first. Simplify. New episodes out on the IVM podcast website, app or wherever you get your podcast from. कृपया ध्यान दीजिए, the language used on the podcast may not be fit for consumption. We warn you, tread carefully. But listen, yaar, don't be so conservative. All right, it's called Cyrus Says. I've just been told by the teleprompter, a podcast which has now changed the lives of absolutely no one. Strangely, for me, before we introduce our lovely guest, another terrible moment with the Mumbai police. I may be veering towards the Bihar police now as my favorite police group. That's something we all think about growing up in India. Who's your favorite police group or police station? So I'm thinking of going towards Bihar, maybe Jharkhand. So I'm a little irritated now with Mumbai police. My wife went to Alibag recently, today in fact, and they stopped her somewhere on the way and asked for an e-service pass. What the hell's going on? I thought it was like now a partial lockdown, everything is normal. So make up your mind. Are we on? Are we off? Is it fight or flight? Nobody seems to know. Even he was a bit sheepish while she was arguing with him.
Really?
It's just a pointless exercise. Yeah, ridiculous. Very angry with all these people. Our heads will roll.
Do you wish you were smarter? Well, so do we. But the next best thing?
We could make you sound smarter.
And to help you with this endeavor, we are Simplified, a podcast that attempts to break down the complex world around you with a little knowledge, a lot of poor jokes, and a ton of random trivia.
Episodes out every Monday.
On the IVM podcast app or wherever you get your podcasts.
See ya!
Let me introduce my young friend, Mr. Ganguly. Are you there?
I am now. I'm sorry. I got cut for a moment.
I couldn't see you. That's why I couldn't see you. All right. How's it all going? Welcome to our show. It's called Cyrus Says.
Yes, thank you. Glad to be here. How is it all going is a very weird question right now.
I'm so sorry. I'll rephrase it. How's your testicles? Is that easier? Whatever you're comfortable with.
So far, so good. But yeah, the whole lockdown life taking its toll and everything. So yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. We shouldn't say things like what's up and all, because if someone's in a bad mood, they'll be like, fuck you. What the hell are you asking me right now? Yeah. I'm sorry. I do apologize. I shouldn't have bothered with the welcome. I see you're like me, a cynic already at this young age, angry and frustrated. And you don't have sexual problems, I hope. So just quickly to bring up that point. So with the Mumbai police, I don't get it. Are we positive about the thing that's going and trying to work and, become a stronger economy and get back? They have a slogan, putting Mumbai back, or some ridiculous slogan like that is out there. So I don't understand. So then if it's a lockdown, we're locked. If it's not a lockdown, then unlock. I just so-called half gray area crap is just driving everybody mad.
I think it's best summed up by the whole Atmanirbhar thing. It's the most polite, dekh lo apna. You manage your own shit kind of.
Fine,
Yeah,
don't stop me.
Just do.
I've been following that principle only. That best governance is we don't bother, you bother. Yeah. I agree with that. That is democracy. If you look at it from one perspective, it's also a form of democracy.
Beautifully summing up democracy. Atmanirbhar is beautifully summing up democracy.
And I've been saying this for the last, I don't know how long, since the beginning of the lockdown, that the real government now is the building society. That's the one you have to deal with. They are the real, and I'm in opposition, as you may well imagine. I don't know about you. Yes. I'm in opposition because I don't agree with lockdowns or masks or gloves or all this fear mongering. I can't stand it. I do believe that I would prefer that, a fascist government took over and shot everyone. It ends fast.
I think to feature in the building whole secretary game, the first rule is required is stop wearing shorts. That's how they give you importance, and whatever you feel is important only once you stop wearing shorts.
Yeah,
otherwise you can.
You're right. All those small prejudices. I actually had to handle those kind of questions. Hey, don't you think you are underdressed during COVID? But what the hell? Is it a party? And if I wear pants, no one will die. What are you saying? You should have told me that before I had kids. Oh God, don't start me. Your boss, this is your show. You have to talk about all the positive things that you have done in your life and how you're so successful at such a young age. Instead, we are now talking about all the pain and...
So that's how all conversations are going on these days. You start, you think of it'll be a different thing and altogether, and suddenly it's just a mini rant from both sides. Everybody's just trying to get frustration out. What is going on?
Yeah, really. But it's really sad because you're a young man. I was hoping that at least you guys will have a little happier perspective. At least once you're over 45 and everything is going downhill anyway, I can understand. But I was hoping this is supposed to be the best period, by the way, bad news. Not best period of your life.
I'm not even making this up. Yesterday at an open mic, there was a 25-year-old boy, and I was saying the same thing. I hate young, happy people. I was saying the same exact
It's relative.
It's all relative. Yeah.
It's all relative. I'm learning on the job. Fair enough. So what you're saying is to feel better about myself, I have to talk to a 70-year-old. Yeah, so I go back to the building meetings. There are plenty of those there.
Go to them, hear their take about life and perspective, and suddenly you're like, okay, I'm at a much better place now.
Abhijit, for them, I'm like that, that young guy with long hair who likes rock and roll, the devil's music. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Nice perspective. My zamana. So out of touch. Okay, sir, let's start at the beginning now about your great journey. I mean, how old are you, actually?
I'm actually not that young. I mean, if you say that, but I'm 32. Yeah.
32? You're like my bra size when I was younger. 32, that means you could be my kid? Yeah, you could. Technically, you could be my kid.
That'd be like very early if you're going for it. But yeah.
These accidents can happen and have happened in the history of the world. I mean, lots of children were created when fathers were teenagers. The sad part is they never improved as fathers. Started badly and continued badly. But coming back to you, so let's go a little bit into your history. So you're very popular on YouTube. You're a stand-up comedian. You've been around for some time now. As you say, you're in the middle. You're no longer the youth of the comedy movement. You're not the veteran yet, but you're right there in the middle.
At that age where you feel suddenly politicians are not talking about you as much. Like, earlier when you're like politicians are youth. And I'm like, oh, I guess I don't matter that much also right now. Yeah.
Right. It's also to do with the social networks. As they change and you have to keep up with them. And the people identify you with the network or your Facebook.
Yeah.
I'm like, don't do that.
Totally,
that's casteism in our technology world. Yeah. Don't do that. Facebook. Oh, your Twitter. Uncle Twitter. Mein. Oh, okay. All right. I want to find a 9-year-old on Twitter, just to give us some hope. Yeah.
Oh, there might be. There might be a lot of 9-year-olds because...
you're talking about Donald Trump?
Young, angry people. So a lot of them might be there. Because with the whole justice for Carrie Minati thing going on.
Correct.
A lot of them are definitely there.
And that's the kind of thing that the 9-year-old in South Bombay will go for. Let's be honest. Without being disrespectful. Now, I want to go back to your life, brother. So, tell us a little bit about your beginnings. How did you get into this business? With a name like Ganguly, you should have played cricket or headed, as far as I'm concerned, Larsen and Toubro, one of those giants. Huh.
Yeah. So, I did it's a very unheard story that you might have not heard at all. I went from corporate to comedy. It's a very unique thing. No comedian ever has that story. But, it's a very conventional thing. I mean, I did my master's in Delhi School of Economics and that's when I started doing comedy. Basically I went for a show at Habitat Center by Abish and I really liked what he was doing. Then sent out a mail to the organizers, Cheese Monkey Mafia. This is a group that used to do a lot of open mics. It still does. Of course, not after COVID, it would be run by Raghav Mandava. So I sent him a mail that, hey, I want to try this. So on my birthday in 2010, I gave it a shot. And it's been going on for a couple of years. I did it alongside my job at Deloitte Consulting. It was a very Batman kind of a thing. Like in the morning, you just dress all consulting.
So you were in Delhi?
I was in Gurgaon. Yeah, I was. I'm born in Bangalore and raised in Delhi. So it's a.
So you're of Bengali descent, born in Bengaluru, raised in Delhi. You're a true Indian and now living in Mumbai.
And my wife is Gujarati. I mean,
superb. I think we're okay. South, north, east, west, we've touched everything. But the one big question is, which is the city you hate the most? Okay, out of all these.
I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there right now. Speaking on the internet is very deep.
Come on, no. I want the truth. I'll share it with you because I hate all of them. So I can hate with you. Just tell me. Bangalore, I hate the airport. Okay, they moved that airport and screwed my life. Okay, so let's not get to that. You're a comedian, you're a performer, so you know what I'm talking about. It's just ridiculous. The anxiety now is not the show, it's getting home or getting to the show, which is just ridiculous. It happened to me 3 times in 2019. I mean, the fear factor. Delhi, let's talk Gurgaon. Come on.
Gurgaon, see, that's the thing. I'm at a phase where I don't find it hatred towards. I mean, honestly speaking, Delhi, Gurgaon, NCR is the most entertaining place. Like every time I go back from Bombay to Delhi, it just like feels like the moment you're landing and then there's just two taxi drivers. Oh, it's just so entertaining and like it's refreshing.
This is where you get your matter from. Huh?
Yeah.
You just touch down and then it starts all over again.
It's a different level of life altogether. It's very different. So yeah.
I'm glad. So you're still seeing things from rosy-colored hues, unlike me. Yeah. But then let's come to Mumbai. Okay, so Delhi, everybody's bitched Delhi out and Gurgaon out. I don't want to do more. And they've had a bad week in terms of weather. Mumbai, oh my God. Once the financial capital, the city of India. And now, what are we reduced to? Let's be honest. Come on. What do you think?
Again, Mumbai is also very entertaining with how the whole Mumbai spirit, it's just basically people manage Mumbai rent. It's like we need to pay our rent, So that's the whole Mumbai spirit, basically. Not dying and paying the Mumbai rent. So that's pretty much it.
The Mumbai spirit is when someone has an accident and you drive away as fast as you can. That's the real spirit. Nobody talks about that spirit. Huh? Everybody talks about the warriors. Nobody talks about the people who do nothing. The people who were selfishly staying in their flats and saying, get out, no help allowed, no people allowed, don't bring anybody in the building because my life is more important than anybody else's. Nobody thinks of it from that perspective.
It's very fascinating. It's a fascinating place, Mumbai itself.
You're a diplomat. You're ready for politics. Born in Bangalore, schooled in Gurgaon, and then professional.
School in Delhi, please don't do this to me.
अरे यार कितना फर्क है मुंबई वाले के लिए क्या फर्क होगा?
Oh yeah, I know it's not for you, but schooled in Gurgaon.
Do you all distinguish between Thane and bloody Mumbai? I've never heard a North Indian come here and say Thane, Mumbai, फर्क होता है? पता नहीं. It's one road.
The moment you do comedy, these bifurcations have to be really drilled into your head because 80% of Bombay jokes is just that. So you're hearing it so many times, like Thane, Andheri stereotypes, and it's just So that I'm pretty well aware of is how Thane would be like, not Mumbai.
See, I'll tell you, for me, I think it's the Parsi in me where I have these issues which other people perhaps don't have. For me, anxiety is very often to do with how to get out of any place. Right? Maybe because we ran from Iran. I have no idea what's there in the DNA. But so, like the Bangalore airport, I like Gurgaon because it's closer. The airport is closer to where we are. So I just like that idea. Then I can escape. And of course, in Delhi, they tell you this minute, which is the longest minute ever. 20 minutes goes into 40 and all that. But that's another story. So my point is, that's the anxiety for me wherever I go. How far am I from escaping? And unfortunately, go on.
So that's what I'm saying. See, it's fake. Everybody, like the whole Delhi stereotype is so much there, Delhi being unsafe and all. And people don't realize that Delhi is surrounded by Gurgaon, Noida, Faridabad and Ghaziabad. So in comparison to all four, Delhi is like the best it gets.
The softest city in the world,
It is the softest place.
Let your daughter out, yaar. It's Delhi, only 20% chance. Oops, I'll take that back before I get fired and murdered. Okay. So let's get back to career. So corporate guy in Deloitte and then doing this as a fun hobby on the side.
And which is a whole Batman kind of a life, wearing shirts and talking about synergy and strategy in the morning, and then just going for a college show and just talk about my girlfriend is like this and all that. I mean, of course, jokes were shit. So, we probably still are.
Did you have the Batman voice? I hate that Batman voice. I don't know why he has to talk like that when he's Batman. The voice looks like
when Ben Affleck does it, it feels like it's his real voice with his whole.
Because he's really a retard, is what you're saying.
After doing it, it just feels like, okay, that's an old man really doing this. So
nice. Relatable. Yep. But so as the young Batman in the middle of Gurgaon nightclubs and Delhi nightclubs at that point, when did you realize that, okay, man, what the hell, yaar, isme aur paisa hai, isme aur, I don't know, pyar hai, recognition hai?
So, my thing was my parents are very non-interfering. So that was never an issue by my parents or something. They're just do whatever you want to do. Because,
are you telling me that a well-educated boy like yourself with a good corporate job and your parents did not think when you said, Dad, what the hell, yaar? I'll give up my 50,000 a week job and instead I'll just do this for 5 years? So we'll see what happens.
It is a sibling thing, no? Because my brother, it's always a relative thing. So my brother had made his fair share of bad decisions. So it's always easier. It was easier on me कि इतना तो disappoint नहीं करेगा.
But can you share us one? I want to know what compares with leaving corporate for comedy. For middle class India, that's not easy, the other way around, maybe. Other way around makes sense. Yeah.
Because I strategized it. So in the initial days, every time I'd get a gig, I'd hand over the check to my dad to submit at the bank. So he kept saying this frequent influx of money by the check.
Money.
And so he was, okay, this is getting decent amount of money. So there was
Disposable
never
income if you don't pay tax.
yeah. Yeah, let's not get there. Not on the podcast itself, but yeah, I mean, so it was never from the parent side as much as the girlfriend's parent side, because I mean that
Oh.
was yeah. So
Oh,
which is
were you about to get married?
so that's the whole thing. So because I mean, it was my
Sorry,
relation
yeah?
was, yeah, my relation was a typical one. Like basically, girlfriend. I mean, right now she's wife, but I'm Gujarati, so obviously she had never told her parents. Her parents were absolutely
I think,
unaware.
bro, you're still young. You want to think about what you're saying. It stays online for I don't know how long after that. No, we can't turn it around. At least let me make all the mistakes. So again, I'm giving you a chance. Go ahead.
So yeah, so basically, yeah, the girlfriend, Gujarati girlfriend, her parents did not have any
Bloody
idea.
Indians, yaar. Why do we have to label everything? Oh, my girlfriend, Gujarati girlfriend. And then start. Yeah, go on.
I'm sorry, but that's important for the context.
No, it is. Fair enough. As an artist, it's important. I'm worried about you as a person. Because that's your wife, bro. And that's going to stay on. And it takes one idiot, one chew to listen to the podcast and go and tell her, what's your wife's name?
Nidhi, yeah.
Nidhi, सुना थे क्या बोला आपके बारे में? And that's it.
No, she's
I
very,
don't know. Maybe your wife's
very
really
chilled
nice.
out. She's very chilled out. Again, that's also one of the Gujarati virtues. That as long as whatever you're saying is getting some money in home, they're absolutely fine with it. The whole family.
It's a good mix, actually. Bengali Gujarati is a good mix, because you've got the two different qualities. The good qualities in both sides are very different,
Yeah.
Go on. Sorry.
With it being that Bengalis mostly have none. So that's.
Oh, come on. I'm a big Bengali fan. How can you say that? What's wrong with you? Hey, bro. Yeah, okay, fair enough. But if you are stuck, just always think of the situation stuck in a lift, in an elevator for hours. Who the hell do you want to be stuck with? Obviously, you want to be stuck with a hot woman, but then think about that not working out. So I'm saying, who are you going to spend time with?
Are you sure you want to be stuck in an elevator with a Bengali?
I want a Bengali. Because we can chat. Everybody has to be Cyrus, shut up. I can't take it anymore. Listen, I did a show called Khatro Ke Khiladi where the women beat me on a bus in Brazil because I kept them up all night and not in the way I wanted to.
I think you're meeting very Bombay Bengalis, because if you were to go to Calcutta, everybody's always shouting. Everybody just always shouting. It's like just full of angry people just shouting all the time. And
it's beautiful. It's like Parliament, but with nicer saris. I'm all for it.
There's so many angry uncles just shouting at everybody. So
which community in the world can talk about cricket and break it down into its most finite and most intransient and permutations and combinations that the mind can't even manage without ever holding a bat or ball? Only the Bengalis and us. We can sit and talk about this, and we can talk about just the away swing at Lord's during the evening session, only from the left-hand bowler to the right-hand bat. Only we can do that. But not one of us has picked up a cricket ball and actually hurled it towards somebody else in our lives. Of course, there's respect for that.
Let's not get into the whole Saurav Ganguly bowling action.
Oh, no.
I think we're about to.
Or playing the short ball. Yeah, I hope you're not touchy.
I am a little bit.
You're not touchy with a Gujarati wife, but I dare say anything. Okay, so, sorry. You were talking about your wife, and I think we broke that story.
Segued into everything. But so it was very because I mean obviously the whole the acceptability of the love marriage thing might be an issue, but that's what Nidhi told me by her parents. That was the biggest flip. So she kept telling me that there will be obviously issues, and of course if you right now quit your job for stand-up, that will make it way worse. And so I kept telling her, okay, tell your parents about me, and she's like, it's weird, how do I tell them about you, and then one day I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore, I'm quitting my job because otherwise I'll start resenting you. And I quit my job, and then next week itself she's like, okay, my parents now know about you and they want to meet you. I'm like, crap!
Oh God.
Introduce me. So, and incidentally, her father, who she had been building up to with this Amrish Puri person, did not have any issues whatsoever, which was the biggest disappointment that Uncle, aapki beti has been spreading the wrong image, wrong message about you, because I mean, he was just he was like, okay, you think it's a wise decision? Okay, fine, that's good. I'm like, dude, this guy's so chilled out and so cool. How can he be built up as this? Like all my life, till that point, I'd been thinking he's the person who's stopping my.
But you had not met the parents?
Very, it's a Delhi relation. It's a Delhi. I mean, it's not like it's a very like my parents knew her and everything and acceptability, but their parents technically, I mean, later on they claim they knew everything about me, but just as friends and thoughts and this weird person she knows.
Do they come to the shows?
They came to a show once. After that, they came to a show once, and I had a very interesting bit about like this whole Gujarati bar, so there's a bit I used to do back then about me kicking bar. So
oh God!
so that was,
that's good. Let's hear more.
So I mean, I just try to, when I got to know that they are there, I try to speed it up a little bit so that they don't get it exactly. But yeah, I was a little apprehensive about that.
That's a good point. When a joke's not going well, I think one of the things we all do is try to just get out of it as fast as possible. Or suddenly when you realize that someone is there, like your mother-in-law to be or whatever, and you want to do the gag. Did you make eye contact with her?
No. I mean, that is, no, there's no way I'm doing that. Like, look at it in the eyes and crack.
Yeah, and then wink, wink. Auntie ji, I don't know what you call her. Maji. But
Maji sounds hilarious, by the way.
Yeah, but that's what I like about the North. They put the G and it doesn't have to mean anything.
Mummy ji. That's Mummy ji.
Mummy ji is a little more upwardly mobile, isn't it?
Yeah, Mummy ji is very Punjabi.
Papa ji.
Yeah, Mummy.
Oh God. What are we doing? What kind of conversation is this, man? So just tell me. So then they were supportive, right? Right from the top.
Yeah, they were very supportive. They were like, do what you want to, as long as you know that financially it's fine and everything. Because I mean, so they were, and my parents were pretty chilled out about everything because I had been making decent decisions in life till then. It's always your past decisions.
So what age did you quit at? What age did you switch careers?
Oh, wow.
22.
I did this. I know by the year it's 2014. So
6 years ago. Okay. I can do the maths.
Yeah.
I can do that maths. I'm doing it. 2020 minus 14, 6 years. I've got it together with the calculator.
Yeah.
So 6 years ago, you were about 26 years old. So that's quite a dangerous time. Normally, one would think because you're just starting whatever you were starting, and then you switch. Cool.
And plus, it's a very different thing in the, say, for instance, like Bombay has a way more acceptable. It's way more acceptable to that attitude of taking off-stream thoughts. Apart from Bombay, whole of India, I think, and everywhere. The whole idea about pursuing something creative is not it's not a stable idea. So of course it's very different here, and it's a great thing about Bombay actually, that acceptability towards off.
I think now in Bombay the fear is that if you come to Bombay and become famous, there something bad, tragic will happen, and there'll be a CBI inquiry. So you have to be very careful that you don't become too famous.
Yeah. That's a whole thing.
We'll go into that later.
Just going to different places very just like rapidly from here to there.
I masturbate from head to toe, but I just can't stop, and I think I have major psychological issues with paying attention to anything for more than 30 seconds. So I did so badly in school. It's a bit of ADD, but the good thing is I have hard focus for 30 seconds. So I forgot I was married to my wife. Example,
it's so weird, like so many of us might have had so many issues, but we were just not aware of it. Like
no one was aware. No one Americans discovered all this. What do we know?
So it was, I used to do a joke for this, like, it's only after Tare Zameen Par that I realized that, okay, some of my school friends and, they might have had this. Like, it was, we just thought that, kya stupid.
Or I hope they had this, because otherwise I think they're really stupid.
Because I remember this friend who used to really, we feel very nervous about, like, how everybody has to read out those English stories, so everyone will do a paragraph and everything. So he would, basically strategize his going to the toilet just so that he skips that. And all the time he used to think that, oh, he's so scared. But right now you're like, oh man, you're a bad human being for judging this poor fellow.
But was he dyslexic? I mean, did you find out?
No, I mean, right now we're not in touch.
But you just created this whole thing in your mind. Yeah, the poor guy was just dumb. He doesn't speak to you now because he can't put your names together on a keyboard. Let's get back to so you performed the in-laws to be with you, your parents are with you, which is great actually. I would think that, as you said, very few would reverse their career. You studied properly, you done everything correctly in your life in terms of our middle class background, mentality, corporate world, all that. And then to just chuck it, much more difficult than people think. Now we're making light and you're laughing about it in your successful comics. It's a different thing. But at that point, it's a courageous decision whether you like it or not. Or maybe it's a stupid decision because, your ego says,
so I honestly speaking, I had it, I kind of calculated. It was, in my head, it was like, if I make 2 months if I make 3 months, I make more money out of comedy than my corporate job and my job, consulting job, then I'll quit it for comedy. And I did it for a month and I was like, hey, but I like that more as well. So I'm just putting in my papers. So it was, I had that thing that, okay, I need to make that little bit. So it was, as a decision, it was in my head. I had planned it out that, okay, it needs to have.
Also, technically, you have to only work half an hour, 1 hour in a night, at a time. Compared to maybe sitting, both people, I think in our generation onwards, and I'm talking about 90s growing up, which is older than you, my friend, sadly, I think we just couldn't bear the 9 to 5 zamana technique that was, inherited from whoever. Because up to my father, I remember my dad would come home at 6 o'clock and he would never take a phone call. So we had this in our house, now if the phone rings, I'm not taking it. I'll take it at 9 in the office. It's like that. And so I also have grown up with all these strange ideas about everything. And the fact that 9 to 5 is dead, boss. I don't see the point of anyone going. I mean, you can work now thanks to the COVID. People who are working Deloitte is
this figure, right? Giving me a little bit of jitters right now because it's just the whole even thought of doing that it's scary. It's weird, yeah.
So in a way you escape. Now you have a life now. You do more things. You're more creative. That whole side of yours is expressed better, I would think. I mean, you've lost the corporate world where you're bitching and moaning about. I'm sure a lot of comedy will come out of that. But you've got more time to yourself. And so you don't, get exhausted. You do your intense comedy for a little while and then you go to time to yourself. So there's so much, I mean, if like I said, if you go back to that, God, imagine a frustrated creative mind stuck there.
You feel very scared right now that I don't think I'll be able to ever adapt to that kind of life again. It just feels so scary. Like even right now also, not just about comedy, like if you're in a project, on a writing project, there are days where you will be just on it. But it's again something that you enjoy and you like. And I mean, it's a very confusing thing for me.
But mostly you also do it from home and also you control a lot of factors. Sitting in long pants, I hate pants, for example. There's so many things that I can't bear about, this regimental, army-like culture that we have to have in the corporate world. Or we had, it's better now, I presume.
But right now, I was just thinking that right now because of the lockdown, I think for everybody it's been like just 5 months in shorts. Everybody's forward, like knees, area below knees, they have not been in contact with clothes for 5 months.
But you're talking about normal people. Because I was in shorts before lockdown. I don't like pants. So now I'm in nothing. Because I had to also, extend that shorts metaphor. So for me, I had to take off the shorts so that I feel less. So that's why we were shooting it only till here. So I get up. Oh.
Very
it's so small
approach.
Yeah, minimalist is what my wife says about everything about my lower body. So don't worry. Now I've dropped the pillow. Yeah. Okay. Before we take a quick break, I was just thinking about in the corporate world when I was growing up, we didn't have the internet, right? I worked 1 year in advertising, and there's so many hours we have nothing to do. They won't let you use the phone and call friends. How much can you read? And they catch you reading also. So literally, you do things like hit the pen on the table. I used to count 100 times of hitting the ball pen on the table and things like that. Knots and crosses with myself, play chess with myself. It was ridiculous. Thank God for the internet. And now if you're in a corporate job and you do 5 minutes of work in the day, you have, porn to surf and other things to do, like good human beings.
One thing, but I'll be honest again, Deloitte in that sense, my organization, it was a dream because that was one of the hardest decisions to leave Deloitte because it was very relaxed. They had absolutely no issues with work from home and work from home. Right now, everybody's doing work from home, but then work from home basically means chilling at home. So, you have that mouse ko, I would put it like a pendulum so that it's moving so that I'm showing active on the same time or whatever the chat that your organization is using. And so, yeah, I really enjoyed my time at Deloitte that way. And also, it was so weird because it always happens like this. Whenever you have to take a decision, there's always something that comes up. So the moment I had made up my mind that I want to quit my job, there was this on-site opportunity for Brazil during the World Cup. So I was getting a 2 months. And you know how that will be for a Bengali person to go for the football World Cup in Brazil. Yeah. And I'm thinking, what do I do now? Should I leave this? But I was like, okay, because then something or other will just keep coming up. So I have to make this decision. So I just...
So you didn't go?
No, I just put in my papers because otherwise I just thought that something or other will keep coming up like this. So
instead you went to East Bengal versus Mohammedan Sporting in Salt Lake City.
I want to do that, by the way. I've never done that.
You've never done that? You've not gone? So what do you think? Salt Lake City, you've not seen a match with people going mad?
So the thing is, before stand-up, I'd just been to Calcutta once in life.
Arey, what a waste of a Bengali yaar. Get out.
I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
it's not my decision. The parents and their parents.
Like, parents are so irresponsible these days. Do one thing, just stay where you are for a minute. We'll take a quick break while I just shake something vigorously and we'll come back in a second. All right. Abhijit Ganguly, writer, comedian, philosopher, and a man who survived Bengaluru, Gurgaon, Delhi, Mumbai, and has married a Gujarati girl. All this and more when we come back.
Namaskar, this is Ashish Vidyarthi. Yes, my friend, these are challenging times, but in these challenging times, we can create something extraordinary. Do take time to listen to my podcast, Begin the Journey. Available on the IVM Podcast, website, app, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Remember, we have a great opportunity called life. Cheers.
Okay, brother, we're back.
Yes.
Mr. Ganguly, can I ask you a question?
You.
You're like a Cal boy from Delhi. So you're basically more like a North Indian boy, let's face it. So don't you have those pet names? Because Bengalis have those pet names. All my Bengali friends have these ridiculous names. And all the Delhi boys, all the Panju boys have these ridiculous names. Like the boy who's doing this podcast with us, Silvery, his real name is Antariksh. How the hell is he called Silvery? Another story. Needs one whole podcast. So what is the special pet name of Mr. Ganguly?
So I will do this better. I'll give you my pet name, and then I'll ask you to guess my brother's pet name. And let's see if you get that right. Okay. So my pet name is Tublu. Tublu.
No.
Tublu, yeah. So now,
wait, I need a second. With Tublu is just it's like a cartoon character. I have to digest it. It's beautiful. Now see, all these names they suit you when you're 3.
Yeah.
When you're 75-year-old grandfather, you'll still be Tublu. Oh God. Oops. Okay.
Now you guess my brother's nickname.
Older, younger?
Elder brother, yeah.
Elder brother, okay. It's got Tublu is a clue for me, or it's got
Tublu is definitely a clue. You can think of it as Tublu or Tablu or whatever.
Bablu.
Absolutely spot on, son.
And the winner is, ladies and gentlemen, live from Eden Gardens. Excellent, Bablu and Tublu.
Yeah.
Is that common? Is this a common combination?
I don't know. I mean, there's always that Bantu and all that. So,
Tuntun.
But my whole, by the way, my name story is a very different one. Like, I have 3 names, by the way.
Wow.
Like
the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost.
No, I mean, when I was born, my dad named me after his economics professor, Amartya, who was incidentally Amartya Sen and went on to win the Nobel.
The real Amartya Sen?
Yeah, Amartya Sen was my dad's lecturer. So he named me Amartya after him.
Now, that's going to be a tough one to go over.
Yeah,
What happened?
And I was shit at economics, so I was that.
Well, that's not the point. You named after a very famous man, and then the second one?
Then 6 months later, my name was changed to Vikram. Because
why?
Because my brother's name is Aditya, and that's what a younger sibling's life is reduced to.
Vikramaditya. I get the connect.
Gets together, Vikramaditya.
Yeah.
And then when I was 6 years old, one day, 6 years or 5 years, my mom just came, okay, beta, from today your name is different, and you're 5 years, 6, you don't have the face. You're like, yay. So then it's been Abhijit. And it's after that. Yeah.
Was there heavy drinking in the Ganguly household? What's going on? You're screwing a kid. Now you're a comedian because you have to deal with all these issues.
Unresolved childhood issues, yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking of you. What if you were a Pomeranian and every week I change your name? Just when you're a cookie, next week biscuit, and then by the week 7, the Pom can't take it anymore. I mean, that's just a ridiculous story. That's a sad story. Do you do this in your stand-up?
I've been doing this bit recently. I mean, I still have to get more tags and punch it up a little bit and make it a more juicy story. But because this is the truth. This is like...
It's a beautiful story. It has to be true. Only parents can do this. Out of love they do this, but it just sounds so ridiculous.
Love and all that superstition and numerology.
Superstition and
all that stuff.
Yeah. No, I can see Amartya. I get. I'm named after the great Cyrus the Great, the Persian king. So you want that in your child to be a regal, majestic, great human being. So you give him a great name. So Amartya, fine, fantastic, and intellectual and philosopher and humanitarian beyond Indianness. A man for the world. Yeah. Then you go with Vikram because it goes with Aditya and the Conqueror and the Mauryas and Guptas and all that. Okay, fine, done. So I even allow that. Abhijit came out of nowhere. I didn't get Abhijit at all. What's the connect? So
it's Abhijit without the H. There's no H. So ideally, Abhijit would be ABHIJEET or JIT, but there's no H. So it's ABIJIT. That's how it's spelled. And I don't know why, but because everywhere, this has really caused me a lot of issues because and you know how India works. If everybody thinks that your name spelling should be this, अरे तुम्हें खुद नहीं पता तुम्हारे नाम की spelling क्या है करके they will rectify.
Common name, they'll do their own spelling. Non-common name, they'll do the wrong spelling either way. You're right.
Yeah.
We suck. We should
So
be
mark
given
sheet,
numbers.
everything.
All Indians should be numbers. I'm telling you, I should be like number 1616. That's it.
Gets me to a pain point. The number of Insta followers I've lost because of this weirdly spelled name. There's so many people who just go like, "Arey, aap to Insta pe ho hi nahi." And I'm like, "I am there. It's just my name spelling is weird."
Now, if you had gone as Amartya, you'd have had all his Instas plus your Instas because you're funnier than him for sure.
But I can't even get to
I
complain.
haven't seen his stand-up. I don't know.
Yeah, might
you shouldn't say that. You never know. Guy's hilarious. Wasted his time in economics.
For all you know.
But what a lovely story that is.
Yeah,
I hope
hilarious.
when I come to see you, I hope you do this. I love family stories, man. They just make me really happy.
But I can't even complain much. My brother's name is Aditya, but his name is spelled as Aidityo.
But is this because of numerology? I can't. Is it the Bengali accent that you try to write it correctly in that way?
That be just Adityo. No,
Adityo.
Adityo. This is Aidi. There's a drop.
Why? You haven't had this conversation with your mom?
Oh, a lot of times, please.
And what is the answer?
She's like, we did whatever we thought was best for you. Whatever you have achieved, it's because of this.
Your mom is funnier than you.
Yeah.
What are you doing? You have to bring her on stage. That's a superb answer. Okay, listen, you've been really nice, but tell us a little bit about the comedy then. I mean, I hate to ask you what your subjects are and all that. I should have done more research, but we don't have Wi-Fi for more than 1 hour a day. My house is near the chief minister, so he takes all the Wi-Fi. Okay. So is that a fair question to ask you? Is there subjects that you excel at or your passion is stronger?
So right now, I mean, it of course keeps changing. To be honest, when I started out with, because that was the biggest thing, like being a Bengali in the whole Punjabiness of Delhi. So
it's beautiful.
I used to do a lot of jokes on that. I used to do, but I mean, after that, you just try to, as most comedians, try to stay away from stereotype humor after a point of time. So now
somebody brought up this rule that you can't do your stereotype humor. You have to grow. You're an infant.
And I don't agree with it. I don't agree. As long as the observations are unique, it's absolutely fine. Because stereotype, they are.
I haven't even read a take. As long as you make me laugh.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't like to find Shakespeare in every joke. Sorry, go on.
So right now it's mostly because I do a lot of comedy on what I'm living through, and also it is a lot about being in this. I do a lot about millennial marriage kind of things, like because the millennial marriages are a little different from the parents' generation. Can
you give us a little sample?
It's basically for instance, I used to do this bit about how earlier the men used to be shitty at everything, and the women better, because that's the way everybody was raised, that mardo ko it was like tu to ghatiya sa reh ja. But then equality happened, and basically everybody is shitty now. So basically all millennial marriages are basically just two inept people who are inept at handling situations.
Two men together, basically. One has a vagina. One has a vagina, but they're two men. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
So both being shitty, so that leads to a lot of unique situations, and around that.
What does Nidhi do?
So she was a lecturer. I mean, she is also earlier she was also in the corporate. Then she left that for being a lecturer, and right now she's trying to start something of her own in footwear business. So she's trying.
Oh, excellent!
In the best of times, by the way, these times.
So in a way, the stereotype is true. The creative one, the Bengali, the commercial-minded one, the Gujarati, and you're actually going home here. Both have gone home to the stereotype in a way.
Yeah, that is.
I like it. I like it. The end of the story is a happy ending, no pun intended. Yeah. All right. What are like the best moments you've had? What are the worst moments you've had on stage?
So the worst moment I had, I mean, there have been more than a couple actually. The worst moment was being knifed. That was the worst moment.
What?
That's Delhi, no? So it's normal.
Are you kidding me?
No, yeah. It happens, Delhi.
Being knifed?
Knifed. Yeah. So
okay, I'm good. I need a minute now. Somebody got on stage with a knife.
Not at stage, but at the show they had a knife and they knifed. So yeah.
They stabbed you?
So no, stabbed is different from knife, and you know it only after you've had one of them. But stabbed is when the knife goes inside, and knifed is when it's sliced. So it was on the head. The head, it was. I was like knifed. Yeah.
Now, I don't know whether you're trying to be funny here, or you're actually educating an idiot who has not been mugged by gangs on the streets of Mumbai.
I'm not being funny. So
put some context to what happened.
So, okay, firstly, like this is something that recently happened also. Like at of course, before Corona and all, Akash Mehta ka koi open mic was happening, and some guy came on stage and yelled at them, and every comedy community was very shaken up that this is violent, this is everything. And Akash was telling this to me, that dude, I had that kind of a story. I'm like, dude, do you call this violence? Like, please, this is Bombay level of violence. Delhi, So, coming back to the story, it was. There's some open mic at Shahpur Jat. You know there's Shahpur Jat?
I'm just writing down never to perform at Shahpur Jat. I'm putting a note to self.
I mean, it technically does have the word Jat in it, so it is a kind of a giveaway.
Shahpur is my grandfather's name. What would you say? My great grandfather. Sorry.
Yeah. So Shahpur Jat, it's one of those places. You know how in Delhi, there's one place that's trendy for a few years, and then just basically. I don't know if I should be saying this, but basically then the Gujars and Jats get to know about it, and then it shifts to some other place, becomes trendy. So it keeps shifting every few years. That's how Delhi operates.
All right.
So from Khan Market ho gaya, fir uske baad kuch aur ho gaya, Chapagli ho gaya. So that's how it operates. So yeah, Shahpur Jat. There was this show going on at Potbelly. It's a place which has fabulous food, by the way. I love their food. It's a Bihari cuisine.
Hence the knife. The guy carries a knife because the food is available. Fair enough. Yeah.
So do you want me to give the whole download, the whole story?
Yeah, please. This is amazing. I mean, I don't know how to react. You actually caught me off guard completely. Everything else is like fun and games now. I mean, the lovely stories about the name Tablu and Bablu and mom calling you 3-4 names, and it's all gone out of the window. We're now talking about this hellish life that you lead. You have to fight people with weapons. You're a comedian stuck in the Mahabharata.
That's why once you started comedy in Delhi, everywhere else in India, it's just easier. It can't be like Delhi is Delhi now. Like, that is different.
At the worst, they don't laugh.
That's the worst.
What will they do here? Sorry. Then?
So basically, there's this place called Potbelly. It's on the 4th floor, and there's like stairs, and there's no lift also. So you have to go through. And basically, so I had done my bit, and it was not. So I was not nice because of any joke I cracked. I was just nice at the open mic. I had done my bit, and then there was this very drunk guy who had apparently been trying to park niche at Shahpur Jat. He was trying to park his car there, but there was some car which was parked in a bad way. I think that belonged to one of the comedians, only Mahit Singh, who's also a comedian from Delhi. And he had been, honking his horn and trying. And while we were performing, there was this horn sound coming repeatedly. And then this drunk guy, he came up and he was like,
Kiski gaadi hai?
Kiski gaadi hai, stuff like that. Okay, by the way, I forgot this one thing. There's a interesting superstition to it as well. So I have always, I don't know, since childhood, I've always had a kada. I've been wearing a kada. You know what's a kada, right?
Like, of course.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I am pro Britain, but stop there. Yeah.
So I've always had a kada because I don't know, but my mom had always given me a kada, so I'd always been wearing a kada. And that, like, sometimes, but I feel.
So he thought you were, because the name was Sikh, he thought it was you, is it?
No. Okay, listen.
I'm sorry, I jumped. Go on.
So I'd always had the kada, but like a couple of days before that, I'd forgotten my kada somewhere. I'd kept it there, taken it off, and forgotten it someplace. So I was without a kada, and I was feeling very weird about it. And so I went to the open mic, and there was Mahit was there. He was a very, very good friend of mine. He's a very nice person, and Mahit Singh. And so I told him, yeah, ajeeb lag raha hai, because I'm always used to wearing a kada, but I don't have it. And Mahit went like, "Arey, tu mera kada pehen le," and he gave me his kada. And,
shoot! This is like a Hindi film, yaar. Go on.
Yeah. So, and he gave it to me. I'm like, okay, cool. Then I'm so happy. And anyway, after that happens. Like, after that, I'm done with my performance. Like, the honking happens. Then this guy comes up. And he's like, he's just full on swaying because he's drunk. He's like, he's drunk. So there's no control over his body moves, and he's like that. And then, there's a break in the open mic. So, and when 3-4 of us comedians, we come out, like, basically there are 2 rooms to it. One room is where the show is happening, and the other room is the place where, there are tables and all. So this guy has come to the other room. So we come out from our room in which we are just doing the show, and during the break, and we come out for our smokes and all. Back then I used to smoke. So we come out, and there we see this guy who's drunk, and he's talking to Pooja, who's the owner of Potbelly, a very sweet person again. And it was a little weird because she's like he's being like a.
But she had no security guard or bodyguard type.
No, nothing.
Type.
No, nothing.
God, amazing.
So
if it was me, they'll be throwing me out for sure with bouncers. Then
so he was being his drunk person, and it's a thing. So I mean, like you just go like try to handle the situation. You're like, yeah, and I'm not a very aggressive kind of a person. At least that's what I like to believe about myself. So I'm not in the conflict mode. So I'm like, hey, अरे क्या हो गया sir? अरे चलिए ना नीचे चलो ना. अरे कुछ fight नहीं. अच्छा हाँ ठीक है solve करते. So I mean, just try to take him away from the situation, because it was becoming a heated conversation. So and then he starts going down, and we're like, okay, fine, the situation is sorted. So he takes the first stair and he starts going down, and he was drunk. So I'm like, okay, he's going now, and so he left. So we went again. We are like, okay, he's done. So we go out. I come back out to the balcony, and then we are smoking. Then suddenly we hear sounds from the floor below. The fourth floor is the place where the restaurant is. The third floor is the place where the kitchen is. We hear sounds from the floor below. So I again, like, me, there was, and everybody was there. Me, Raghav, Zakir was there. Amit Tandon was there. There were Samir Mayer, other comedians also. They were there. And I just looked down, and there's like Pooja is talking to still that guy, and this guy is like, and he's just being drunk. He's being a typical drunk douche, and so. And there, he kind of like basically, while swaying his hands, he kind of touched her. her. And Pooja also was like, and he touched her on the
chest.
On the chest. Yeah. So, and he was also like, what is wrong? How can you touch me like that? And so again, I'm not like not as like,
but it was a mistake touch. It wasn't a creepy.
It was a mistake touch. It was like just a swing mistake touch. Not like
to support the guy who's drunk.
Not to support the guy, please. No,
correct,
it was shitty. So, and it was not like so because you're there, you just try to go in
on
between.
The spot. Yeah, I get it.
You're on the spot. It's not like I'm, like be the savior or something like that, because I'm Bengali.
You don't have to be a hero, Baba. You did the right thing.
Exactly.
A woman is being heckled by some guy, and you just try to stop it. We get that. Then what happened?
So I just gone between the two of them, and this guy had a switchblade. So he had a switchblade, and he just, and I didn't even know, because it happened so fast. Like there's a blow to my head, on the head, yeah. And so it's the kitchen, right? It's in the kitchen. So my specs goes out flying into one of the kadai.
God!
Where there is some curry being cooked, and now
only 6 guests would die of glass poisoning. It's good thing.
No, but it did not break. And one of the first priority as a person with specs, the first priority on any fight is just to get your specs back, because
otherwise you can't see the person.
Everything else can wait. First thing is you get your specs back, because that's the most important thing. So I pick my specs up from the kadai and I wear it, and I can see curry still flowing from the spec. And I try to clean it again, and by this time, by the way, the whole kitchen staff has just gone crazy. The whole kitchen, because he hit me, the kitchen staff, they are proficient with their kitchen equipment. They're like, let's have with this guitar. They are
frustrated cooks worse than frustrated comedians. He picked the wrong fight. So they started beating the guy.
Varchi, they have all them, and they're beating him like this. And meanwhile, I'm taking my specs out, and the curry, I'm like, why is the curry still falling from my specs? And I clean it, I wear it again, and I was blood. And so I have decent amount of blood coming out of my head, and as is the situation in that case in India, maybe outside also, everybody just starts yelling at you. So Amit Tandon, his whole father instinct came out, and I'm trying to say,
where's the jokes now, Amit Tandon? No jokes now. What the hell? Sorry.
So he's like, Abhijit, खून निकल रहा है. I'm like, अच्छा ठीक है, मैं बैठता हूँ थोड़ी देर. Like, Abhijit, चल. And I'm like,
how bad was it?
There was a lot of blood. There was a lot of blood coming out from the head.
Well, the guy should have been jailed, man. I mean, that's ridiculous. How dare he pull a knife out? I'm not even supporting your comedy, man. I'm just saying. That's ridiculous.
I don't know. So basically, then from there, Amit, it's still so basically Amit drags. He's like, chal, niche chal, and then we all go. And by this time, by the way, the kitchen staff and everybody, they have gotten that guy by hitting him on the ground floor itself. So he's just lying down there. Arey, maar diya, and everybody's. And I also have this deep instinct to just while going, I kick him at least. But yeah, of course, I don't do that. And we all go to Amit Tandon's car, which is a Scorpio. So. and Scorpio, and my blood is still coming out a lot. There's a lot of blood coming out, and I was feeling really bad because again, I'm like, yeah, that's the way a middle class Bengali man. I'm just thinking, आपकी गाड़ी गंदी हो जाएगी. Like, so much. Sit down. He's just full on Punjabi Sunny Deol, and then fatherly instinct has kicked in. So he's like, he gets me in the car, and there are 4 of us comics now in the car. Me, Samir Mehra, we used to do comedy earlier, and Amit, there's another Amit Sharma, and they're all 3 are talking about it. What the fuck just happened? What the fuck just happened? And the moment I try to say something, I try to contribute, they're yelling at me, "Tu chup kar, kya khol kar raha hai?" I'm like, this is just very unfair. And so we go to the Mulchand Hospital. After taking a detour and all because movie Bandh tha. And by the way, this is not like some roads because this was 2 weeks after Nirbhaya. So, so there was a lot of barricades and everything.
Police bandobast.
Police bandobast. And so we had a 5-kilometer detour leke Mulchand Hospital. Mulchand Hospital, incidentally, brilliant hospital. They have emergency capacity, like the emergency unit has a capacity of 1 patient. So yeah, so we go there, and there's this already some guy is inside the emergency place because
so you have to come back tomorrow.
No. So he got knifed in the thighs.
Oh my God!
He got knifed on his thigh because of some fight. And those guys, the basically people who are doing stitches and on, they come out, the doctors and all come up, and they just have a look at me, and they go inside and ask that guy to come out. So this guy with his pants down, by the way, his pants are down, and just on underwear. And you know how funny it is, like doing the penguin walk, like with pants on. He comes out and he's looking at me like, bro, and I'm like, I'm sorry, bro, and yeah, I got more shit serious. But so I go in, and then they are doing the stitches and everything, and
is that bad, huh?
Yeah. I mean, so it's like you don't know how
they threw out the other guy because they were worried for you, and my God.
I mean, so
did you think about going back to Deloitte?
Yeah, incidentally, I was wearing a Deloitte Impact Day T-shirt that day, which was soaked in blood also. And and there are comedians and all also are coming out and like coming there from the open mic after that. And Raghav is because they don't know like how much of how bad it is, so they are calling a neurosurgeon. The doctors are calling a neurosurgeon.
Oh my God!
Well, because they don't know like. I mean, they're still yet to inspect because a lot of blood, like how much impact of it was. And so Raghav and all the viewers later, they had basically created a whole image of me being in the wheelchair for the next all of my life, and then visiting initially more frequently and then later on forgetting.
But it was a serious cut, man.
Yeah, it was.
What you're saying, it's not. It was.
When I still have a haircut.
Nice.
When I still have a haircut, it's visible. It's visible, I think. It's on this side, yeah. And it's almost like he drew a 7. So there was a joke later on we used to do. Probably I was the 7th guy he knifed because he quickly drew a 7 over. So it's like a 7, the whole scar.
7, so that's like 2-3 slashes, huh?
Yeah. So and while the whole Take thing is going on, I'm like, sir, there was a Sardar guy, incidentally, who was doing the stitches. And I'm like, sir, and I have glucose and drip and all going on because of the blood loss. So I'm like, sir, you kada utar sakte ho kya? And he's like, Kyu? He's like, I'm like, because, there's a whole superstition rumor that you should not wear loha from anywhere else. And I'm like, sir, actually, kisi aur ka pehna nahi chahiye na, mummy bolti hai. And he's like, aap superstitious ho? And I'm like, sir, 1 घंटे पहले तक तो नहीं था. But, अब थोड़ा हो रहा हूँ.
Oh man, that's a funny story.
And incidentally, by the way, there's more merit to that superstition because apparently it was Mahib's car that was parked in a wrong way, because of which he was.
So you wore the kada. It was his car, so the karma of his went to you in a sense. I totally get it, bro. Yeah.
And the biggest.
Are you still friends?
Yeah, we are still friends, and we laugh at it. And it's the biggest flip, by the way. Once all this, and Mahip is also at the hospital, and they have called my father, they've called my brother, and everybody is there. And after everything is done. And by the way, the moment I'm coming out from the OT, they're all comedians, all fucking vultures. They're like thinking that they will make a bit about this. And I'm like, you bastards, if anybody gets to make a bit about this, for this story, it's me, not.
But you have to make a bit. You must have made a bit about this. You can't let this go. It's a huge moment.
It is.
I mean, I'm just thinking, hospitals don't even think it through, right? Because no one checks a hospital before they have to go there. It's like nobody knows there's only one patient possible in an emergency.
There's so many things to it because after that, like basically when Amit went back, so first he washed his car. And just think about it, and he was stopped at a police barricade while going back because it was late 2 o'clock. Now think about it, 2 weeks after Nirbhaya, if you have a backseat that's full of blood.
My God.
Dude, like the soup that you can be in at least for that night to talk about it very much. And by the way,
and what are the chances that the guys who are manning that Nakabandi have been watching his gig? So that's also not there.
No, back then there was no YouTube. No, none of us had YouTube videos or anything out as well. So, okay, and incidentally, after all this ends, Maheep is coming out of the parking area. This is the biggest clip because Maheep was in the car with Vikramjeet, another comic, very good friend of mine. So they are coming out of the car. They are coming out of the parking. And the parking area guy goes like, the Mulchand Hospital parking area guy goes like, "Sir, 40 rupees." And Maheep says, "देख, आज मैं बहुत खुश हूँ. मेरे दोस्त की जान बची है. तू कुछ भी कर ले, मैं तेरे को कोई पैसे नहीं देने वाला." And he just drives away. And in the best flip, because after the first 2 sentences, the parking guy is thinking he's going to give me like 10,000 rupees. बहुत खुश हूँ. मेरे दोस्त की जान बची है. तू कुछ भी कर ले, मैं नहीं देने वाला, and just drives away.
Like a true Delhi politician. He reversed the ball at the last minute. Excellent.
Very Delhi story, yeah.
What a story, bro. We went from our happy lives, and now I'm thinking this is a guy, you sound like one of those, young guys in a gang in New York City or something, who fought some a rival gang and have blood wounds and cuts and bullet wounds and holes, and oh my God. My life is very privileged. I'm sorry to say I don't want to talk to you anymore. I feel I don't have the right.
Just Delhi life. I mean, if you've lived in Delhi, these things have happened a couple of times at least. So it happens. Yeah.
The closest we got is when we did a bakra which went wrong, then we had to run. That's it. Get into the Scorpios and run as fast as we could. But wow, what a story. Excellent. Listen, you've talked too much. You've killed the entire show. There's no time left. I wish, in fact, we could take 4 minutes back from the beginning. Some my ridiculous conversation at the top could be edited. But we do have the AMAs. You'll stay for 5 minutes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. Okay, let's get Silvery back. And he's also a young comedian on the rise. So I think he probably knows the story of your knifing.
Yeah, we smoked a doop together in the car. So yeah, we know each other.
It was my car.
Wow.
No,
Yeah, it was his car.
Was there blood in the backseat, Silvery?
maybe when it was all oozing from Abhijit's head.
I'm already thinking biopic बनाएंगे तो नाम title क्या होगा?
Yeah, but I just need to
another bloody comedian.
That's what I just tell them. I have the stories all set. I just need to get more famous.
Yeah.
So,
You're great. Yeah, the stories are ready. The moment, you're right. Absolutely.
So my wife was also like, she keeps doing a lot of DIY things and a lot of creative things, and also I keep telling her that तू designer wife बनने को तो तैयार है, बस मेरे को भारी successful होना है, बस तू otherwise तू designer wife के लिए ready है तू.
But what about those wives who are actually designers and husbands are failure?
Yeah,
because we all have this image in our head, but there must be some guys like that, na? घर पे बैठ जाते, काम नहीं करते, and the poor wife actually done well on her own, and but it's designer. It's exactly what you said.
Yeah.
Oh man! Hey, what happened to that guy? Before we start the image quickly, the criminal, the chaku wala. What happened?
So it was basically decided. So Pooja later on talked to me, and she said that, hey, do you want to press charges because that guy is a top shot guy in BDA, and also we were serving alcohol that day, and we don't have a liquor license, so we can also get into trouble. And I'm like, dude, it's completely up to you if you want to take this up further or not. And she's like, okay. And she's like, it's up to you. And we did like back and forth 3-4 times. And then we basically decided that nobody wants to go through it. And so, yeah.
But, so this is typical Delhi story in the end. You beat whoever you can when you can, because after that influence hoga. So you can't do anything later.
You can't really do anything. So, I'm like, the way I'm looking at it, the kitchen staff got our revenge and they did what they could. And like, he was in a bad shape. Like, he was just lying down there, like, by the time. So it was like, it's a Delhi story, basically.
It's ridiculous, man. Over a bloody parking for the wrong guy who wore the wrong kada that day. The wrong everything. Wrong place, wrong time, literally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, superstitions might have a little bit of merit for it.
So your mom, what did your mom
had a point? Mom had a point.
You can't argue.
Yeah.
Oof.
Her argument might be Vikram might have been dead by now.
Yeah, Vikram dead. Amartya would not even have fought back because he's a man of peace.
Amartya would have formed a demand-supply curve over there. Yeah.
That 7 would have been a graph that the whole world would have been trained to understand. Yeah. Okay, let's go to AMA Silvery.
Hey everybody, welcome to another awesome week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you're not following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. It's been a really fun week this week, as it is almost every week, but this week was particularly fun. Parmesh Shahani was on Cyrus Says, great conversation over there. We had a crossover event. Vineet Kanabar, host of the Storytellers and Storytellers podcast, came on Uncle Please Sit. Really interesting conversation about the future of digital content. Besides that, it was the 50th episode this week of Agla Station Adulthood. Congratulations to Ritasha and Ayushi. But yeah, they're 50 episodes down. They had Rekha Jha as the guest on that show. On Advertising is Dead, Varun had the founders of Foxy Moron, Suvir Bajaj and Pratik Gupta on. Another really, really interesting conversation. So full of interesting conversations this week. But with that, let's get you back to your show.
Follow me at Instagram and Twitter on Bored Brocha. I'm so bored, I need your help. I need your love. I need your touch. Okay, just follow me.
All right. Let's get to the first one. First one comes in from Shilpa Upadhyay. She asked...
Before you did hear, he said he smoked a doob with you. Huh? So we will keep that on. So the Narcotics Bureau of India can investigate this thoroughly.
Doob is a complex word.
बोलिए sir, बताओ क्या है वो doob?
Yeah, कोई डूब रहा था. Someone was dying and someone was drowning.
I'm very strategic about all this. How I say what I say as a comic, you have to be very conscious of what you're saying.
You've got a lawyer's mind. You're a diplomat.
Other than the narcotics guys, I'm more afraid of my mother listening to this episode now.
That's the main narcotics guys. Yeah. And for Abhijit, his mother's given him a get out of jail card once. There's no two cards.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go on, bro. Go
on. First one comes in from Shilpa Upadhyay. She asks, hey Cyrus, I love it whenever there's a comedian on the show. It's always hilarious. So that's why I saved this question. Okay, here goes. So I love driving. Long drives are like meditation to me. And whenever I go on a date, I make sure to include this into the date. Good driving skills are a turn on for me. Cyrus, being a Parsi, did you ever take Aisha out in your car? And was it part of your wooing process? That's the first question.
Aisha learned
to do with that, by the way.
Because there's a lot of stereotypes in that, and fair enough, and correctly so. My wife learned how to drive on my car. I mean, she wasn't my wife then.
Yeah, my wife. I mean, my Nidhi also did. So that's standard Delhi affair. Like.
But it's not fair because when I think about it, her father didn't have to go to the anxiety I went to because my father didn't know she was learning on our car. So you can imagine.
It's a very bad situation because you're still the boyfriend. So and while teaching, like telling a person how to drive, you have to be a little more assertive.
Correct.
But you can't be that assertive because you're the boyfriend.
You're right.
It's a very complex situation, yes.
And the other problem is that the idea is very generous and loving when you start with it.
Yeah.
By the third minute, you already regret it. So can you imagine how long it takes to train someone how to drive? Yeah. And like you said, you have to change gears yourself in moods and you have to talk in a certain way. And initially you say, TK, don't worry, just go slow. And but by the third time, I mean, it's like it broke up our relationship at least 5 times. And banged the car and I had to pay for everything. Yeah. She reversed into a lamp pole. So, gaadi aage, lamp pole piche. I mean, I don't know. I just looked at it. I was like, it's just there. And she just went straight into it. After adjusting the mirror, after looking left, right, she just went straight into the lamp pole. I should have just stopped the marriage. I mean, the relationship there.
But the whole thing comes out that the tendency to blame, like I remember when I was teaching Nidhi, she kept saying, like, "Arey, samne kyun aa raha hai?" And she kept driving. I'm like, "Arey, irrespective of that, agar samne aa chukta, let's not kill him."
My dad has the same philosophy when I was younger with the dogs in the park, which is, "Ye log kyun aa gaye yahan pe? Why have they brought their dogs?" I said, "Dad, it's a public park. You can't say this. Our dog's attacking their dog. We are in the wrong." I love our people are beautiful. They're crazy. And we look at fascism elsewhere. Yeah. Silvery, what was the question?
Yeah, I forgot. That's the first part. That's the first part. Second part of the question is, recently, yes, during the lockdown, after not leaving the house for like 3.5 months, I finally met up with a guy for a date. And since everything was shut, we decided to go on a drive to Lonavala. However, about halfway there, something he said made me immediately get turned off and think he was a little creepy instead. But we were only halfway there. So then I had to continue for another hour to Lonavala and then the 2 hours more it takes to come back. What do you think I could have done or said to be able to leave him at Lonavala itself and then come back on my own?
How can she do that? How can she actually get in the car and go to Lonavala with a guy she doesn't like? You've got to be really clear you like someone if you're going to go on a drive for bloody 5 hours plus spend a whole day with him. It doesn't make sense to me. I remember we used to shoot Bakra, this show, we used to always like to have a person in the car. the car was the best because whatever things went wrong, we would capture everything. Some sound would happen and some action would take place because you're stuck in a car. I mean, there's no place. It's the worst. I mean, just if you want to understand how much you hate or love someone, go for a long drive. Spend the whole day in a car with someone. I mean, it just ends if people don't get along.
It's like the possibility of this guy turning off or something. The possibility of this person turning out to be a murderer or something. So much more. How can you take that chance that early?
I think it's possible that she was talking to this guy, whatever, they probably met her on an app or something. She was talking to this guy for a while, and it's easier to seem normal over text. You know what I mean?
But you can't just jump into the car. Let me tell you, you guys are young. When you become my age, everything irritates you about people. Yeah. Everything. So you're driving with, if I was trying to find a loved one at this age or romance or whatever, the woman will just start saying things like, I don't like black people or something. That's it. Sooner or later, they'll start saying things. Everything will, you'll see a beard coming slowly through her chin.
That's what the guy said to turn her off.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
I don't like black people.
No, the guy said I like black men. So that was the problem. What a out of love. But how could she go in the car with him? It's a recipe for disaster. I don't understand. Yeah. I would not go with my own wife. I may go with someone else's wife, but she won't go with me. So that's another sad
I mean, that's an age thing also, no, Cyrus? Maybe because we are at that. After having our fair share of bitter experiences, there's no way you're going to chance that. कि मैं लोनावला नहीं जाने वाला with a person जिसको मैं जानता ही नहीं हूँ.
Okay, Abhijit, ठीक है, तो I'll give you this example. If you have a daughter, and your daughter is going for a drive with a guy she met online during COVID for 5 fucking hours, what would you say to her? I'm coming with my shotgun. I'm sitting in the back. You'll talk. My gun is pointed at him. He says one thing wrong, I kill him. It's simple. It makes no sense.
Yeah,
it makes no sense.
You put me in a spot by giving me that hypothetical situation. Suddenly I have a daughter who's now 16, who's on a date with a person on the
You are a man who has survived a knife attack. I mean, your empathy level should be good for mad people. You have experienced a truth, behaving like a truth in a fairly civilized neighborhood where people were performing for nice people. Okay, he was actually the only truth there, and you experienced that moment. So I'm saying, I don't know, man. 5-6 hours of the truth in us will come out. I wouldn't want anyone to be trapped with me. I wouldn't be able
to drive on Lonavala, drive to Lonavala with.
And one more thing, it's bloody Lonavala. You don't reach Paris at the end. What the hell? You miss in the car, you reach Lonavala. Might as well just go to Versova Creek and come back. Why?
Exactly.
That's true. Yeah.
I think we've answered the question. Yeah. We all say wrong decision. Take an Uber. With that, they have that barricade now because of COVID. You don't have to worry. Yeah.
But so by the way, we have not given her helpful advice at all. Her asked, what she asked for was how could I have handled the situation better 1 hour into it, and we have just said you made bad decisions.
That's true. That's a very good technical point. In the middle, what should she do? Silvery, what do you think?
So I think she should start with smaller distances and then keep increasing.
First, she's now in the middle.
Again, you're doing the same thing.
First जाने के बाद what do you do?
Man, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing. Once you've taken him there, you have to kind of bring him back, no?
You can't just... India, no, you can't even chance him bahar jaake lift le lo because that can be even worse person.
Correct.
So,
it can be because he'll just be a creep to someone else.
That's where that Peter Mukherjee's stepdaughter's remains are. That same route. I mean, you don't want to get involved. Sorry, terrible reference. But you brought morbidity and tragedy into it with your knife story. We were happy. I was Tablu, you were Bablu, everything was good, yaar. What happened to our lives? Silvery, right. Sweetie.
Want to go to the next question?
I think so.
I think this one is done.
There's no way we can help from that 1 hour into the
We've lost one listener.
Go on.
Okay. Go on. The next question comes in from Urvashi Desai. She asks, hi Cyrus and guest. My parents are typical conservative Indian parents, Orthodox Hindus, who don't like anything that questions their way of life. They follow Indian TV news and believe everything they are told, as in their own words, why would the news channels lie to us? They don't seem to get the TV news is all either bought over or supremely biased. Because of our Indian TV news, my parents have formed some really racist theories which I cannot repeat here. How do I make them understand that the media is controlling and majorly influencing them by spreading fear and communalism? It's quite frustrating to hear my dad start talking about these biased topics during every mealtime.
Yeah, see, as a student of psychology, since I did 32 years of psychology, I have to tell you, I think all these prejudices are already there. It's not like it comes out at the age of 49 when the father's sitting on the table. It's already, I remember when 93 happened, Babri Masjid happened and all, some of my friends who came from partition, their grandparents and who came from partition, they suddenly started talking about, hatred, anger, very nice nana, nanis, dada, dadis that we grew up with. They started talking in certain aggressive tones and all. And we were quite shocked at the level of aggression. But it's because they had that prejudice from long time back. But then they went through homes being lost, relatives being killed. So it's a different story. I can't sit there and judge anyone about that because I didn't go through that. But here in this case, when middle class India was sitting there and just pontificating hate for no reason whatsoever. They pray differently, their hands point differently, they are bad people. Well, how do you argue with all that shit? I think you should change the parents. Just go to a store, return your parents and
very understanding level. I understand. My understanding. It ended with you should change your parents. That was a very flip of a conclusion.
Well, the Mother Teresa and me died. I can't help anyone anymore. What can I tell you? I get very disappointed. See, I'm now that generation. I'm that parents' generation or closer to them. So I'm just very disappointed that they want to hate people for no reason. Like I said, I'm not justifying the partition hatred, but at least those people went through something. I mean, the terrible story is there. Yeah, what are you hating? Because the guy just, prays differently or has a different cuisine or speaks a different dialect or, it's rubbish. Why are you arguing this point? I mean, it's just stupidity. I think men need lives. When men have lives, they don't do all this shit. Pay your bills, get on with your life. I think they need to work out harder. I feel a lot of Indian men don't work out hard enough.
I think what happens...
I lost my comedians. No, I think Abhijit is calling the guy with the chaku. I'll give you an address in South Bombay. 2 baar slice karo, make it 77.
I think what happens is that people of a certain generation, they don't buy only that the media might be lying to them at all.
So no, they buy. It's just the media they like. They are not lying. The media they hate because there are two sides. It's not like the parents think that news is unbiased. They hate one side of the news. They just like they already have that set belief, as Cyrus said that, and it basically they're not particular parties are not in power. Like people are not like this because particular parties are in power. Particular parties are in power because people are already like this.
Correct. Very well put. Yeah, that empowering has happened maybe a little bit, but it's already there. You're right. Completely. It's very sad, honestly. It's so sweet this girl is that she's in many ways more mature and sophisticated in her thinking than her parents, which it should be perhaps the other way around. So I'm quite impressed. I would go for a drive with her to Lonavala. That's for sure. Oh God. Now I've spoiled everything. Now our relations her parents were right. Don't trust us.
I think because a lot of us face the same. A lot of people feel the same, that very stringent parents with a particular set of thoughts, and I think nothing can make it better but just conversation and just trying to understand them, like where are they coming from, irrespective, even if you feel that they're coming from a bad place, but just trying to understand it better and then trying to have a calm conversation, trying to convince them. I mean, it might not work, but yeah.
Mr. Ganguly, I think maybe Cal is a little better. As far as I can tell, it's really cosmopolitan. But Mumbai is a little bit of a hypocrisy. In South Mumbai, for example, you try, if you have any Muslim friends who are trying to get places to stay in, you know how difficult it is. And no one tells them on their face. No one tells them on their face. It's like apartheid in South Africa. They don't tell you on your face anything. They say, Sophie Chaudhary told me a terrible story. I'll quickly tell you, the singer. Because her name is Sophie Chaudhary, generic Punjabi sounding name. It doesn't mean anything. What is Sophie? What is Chaudhary? It's not a hardcore Islamic or Hindu name like that. So they accepted whatever. Then they found the mother's thing, and I think her name is more Muslim sounding. And they came up with something about, the flat has got a lot of leakage, so it's better you don't buy it. And they just forced her to not buy it without ever saying the reason.
Same with a friend of mine, like a couple friends, Muslim couple, they had to take a house on rent, they had to go through 57 houses.
It's ridiculous.
57 houses, and they'd get through because the guy's name is Sahil. First name is Sahil. So they'd go to the house, and after that there'd be an issue. So yeah, that's for sure.
The same, God, man, what numbers? All Indians should have numbers. Just remove this race, religion, community, caste crap. We should all have numbers.
That is the evil theory that is the whole thing of big China and the big thing and the numbering of people and all that. That is also another theory that's also fascism of a different.
Can we do any worse? Let's just try it. What the hell?
Yeah, might as well.
You call up your dad. Hi, 78. I am dating 1,464. But she's Muslim. It's going to happen.
Yeah, even in spite of the numbers, that will come up.
That will come up. I'm telling you. What a country. Yeah.
I know after you being 77 on the head, you went, my dad being 78. It's like, yeah, linear progression.
Oh, good. What an analytical mind. Corporate world has lost that mind. How sad. To comedy. Damn it.
Yeah.
Silvery, और कुछ है?
Yep.
Silvery's gone.
One last one, yeah.
Yeah.
This one comes in from Amir Siddiqui. He says, hey to Cyrus and guests. Cyrus, I love the show. Please now stop doing it. Guys, I am 17 years old. My question is, what do you think will be the most important / irreplaceable job after the pandemic? I know doctors will be important, grocery stores, medical stores will be important, but which alternative career option in the arts will still be needed and treated as essential, do you think? He says, comedy is a hard thing to replace, but even stand-up has taken a major hit during this time. Is there anything you guys can think of that would be a good career option for a 17-year-old?
Yeah, I want to speak from Malba Hill perspective. I don't think I should speak from a village outside Jabalpur because that's not fair. I'll speak from Malba Hill perspective. And the first thing is we must reward the real heroes, the watchmen. Okay, the watchmen were not allowed to leave. They were captured by the building panchayat. They were held down. They were told no leave for you. You can't do shifts. You have to stay and sleep here. And they had a reverse jail situation inside our buildings. So I would give them all the Leo Club awards from Matunga to Mazgaon Docks. All of them should be given and decorated like soldiers for their bravery.
But are you asking him to be a watchman?
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that it's got a lot of dignity and self-respect now.
Absolutely.
So
it should have. Yeah, ideally.
It should.
Unfortunately, also Indian society.
Also to tell our fellow comedians, because life is hard being a comedian, that these things are there. Okay, it's also a night shift. And you get to wear a watch or you get a cap. I mean, there's a couple of things which are good about.
I really have no idea whether you're supporting the watchman thing or making fun. Very conflicting and confusing thing right now.
No, we didn't give them a chance. I just want to talk about again from the Malba Hill point of view. Because the self-centered narcissists that live in my area only think about themselves and only we should be preserved. So the help should be killed. They shouldn't be given work, not allowed in the building. Everybody else vendors who work around us should be killed. They should all die and never come close to us. And the watchmen should stay here. They must not go anywhere because they have to preserve our building and us. Otherwise, they don't have a right to live. So I'm just talking from that point of view. But now let's get back to the actual point of the answer, which Silvery will give you with his mature mind. Silvery, please go ahead.
Man, I don't have an answer. I don't know what job.
I think the question is coming up is like just sit in a car and record videos, bro.
Okay.
That's a profession that's coming up a lot. So maybe you can focus on that. That's something there's a huge market for. I put this up yesterday. Do you think Hindustani Bhav has a LinkedIn account? You think he's there? You think so? He's there on LinkedIn just sending.
You think he's looking to get hired by corporates for corporate gigs?
Motivation.
Maybe he is a corporate. But there's other things we haven't thought of, like panelists on 9 p.m. shows. That could be a proper career. You could just have to be a panelist. You just have to, turn up, pretend to talk. I mean, I'm thinking it's a bit like the Jaswal Bhatti's flop show where the chief guest is like a proper career. You want to be a career chief guest. So we were just call you for chief guesting.
We were just talking about problems with the news, and now you're saying tell them to go on the news as a panelist.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
We hope that two different people don't hear each other's advice.
But advice doesn't matter. In most of the channels, the anchor does all the shouting and screaming, so you're just there in the background. And secondly, you're told what to say. So I mean, it's not like you have to have an opinion actually. You're told which way to go. I think
in a recent Arnab one, somebody started doing dumb charades. We just start doing, break into two, stuff like that. So this just started doing.
What I enjoy in the Arnab show most is the repeat of one line like a loop. Because the guest will say the same line. May I speak? May I speak? May I speak? May I speak? It's like a dog chasing the ball.
Even with Arnab, no, listen to me. No, listen to me. No, listen to me. So it's a lot of
it's like, I love that loop in the same phrase comes. I love that. It just turns me on for some reason. Maybe it's like early porn from the 70s where they say the same thing. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, sorry, guys. We're not answering the question.
I think it's still the same.
Is it? The porn hasn't moved forward? Damn you.
Yeah. That's what actually, by the way, when we were talking in the beginning of the podcast about how aging, I just did joke, like, that's how you know you're aging. When, porn stars whose videos of teenagers gone wild you have seen suddenly start getting MILF roles. Okay, now I guess I have aged. And you're like she's not even getting a cheating on husband kind of a role. She's getting a MILF role. Poor thing. So much ageism. So
for me, they've become directors and producers of the so, John Holmes, the legendary.
They have a family clan.
Yeah. Wow. But at least they had a future. Think about it that way.
Yeah.
Of course,
Is that the advice we are giving after this?
I don't know.
It's like porn as an industry.
And the thing is, I start ranting on my own problems, and you guys go to another tangent, and the bloody question is gone here. Question
Question was that what other is there anything you guys can think of that would be a good career option for a 17-year-old after this pandemic?
Yeah, that's a good point.
What about
no great answers, I guess.
Yeah, a lot of them doctor hai. सब कुछ इतने सारे तो निकल के आ रहे जो बाकी में serious professions थे.
No, he's saying sorry. He said he basically asking about the arts. Basically, but which alternative career option in the arts will still be needed or treated as essential, do you think?
So do things where nobody touches you. Painter is great. No one should touch you. Modeling. If you're a male model, you should be safe. Female model, they'll try to touch you. You have to be careful. So painting and modeling are two big ones for me. What you should avoid is hair cutting, those kind of professions, because you have to have physical sort of intimacy with your clients. So I would avoid all that.
I don't know what Cyrus is joking or serious.
Comedy?
Serious face, you just say these things.
No, but comedy is a very good idea.
Comedy, but he's saying he's suffered taking a hit. No, he's
taking a hit.
Who the fuck is he to say that he's 17?
Yeah.
We have to tell him he's right.
He must have attended some Zoom shows.
Yeah. For having opinions at 17.
Boss, you just keep that guy's name and card here. Anybody bothers you to call him the Chaku guy. Chaku guy there should be some part 2 in this year.
By the way, this guy is 17. So 17, 77, 7. There's a lot of acronyms of.
And I made dad's the number that was used 78.
78.
So it's all one circle.
Still has 1 7. So the 7 is the consistent theme.
Yeah. Oh God, I would rather be 17 with no job.
Which podcast? If this podcast number also has a 7 in it, that'll be brilliant
But we can put it. We can fudge it. Yeah, don't worry. We'll fudge it. We'll put 7. Yeah. We're closing on to 550, 560 or something like that. So we'll easily put it. No problem.
557 or 567, something like that.
It sounds like a train now. Damn it. Okay, Amartya, I think we've had enough of you. Sorry, Vikram. I apologize. Damn it, Abhijit. Number 7. Oh God.
Tublu has been the consistent. By the way, Tublu has been the one that's always been there for me. Tublu has been consistent. Yeah.
Tublu or not Tublu? That is the question. Excellent. Does your wife call you Tublu?
No. She calls you Abhi.
Abhi. God, that sounds sexual.
Huh? I just sorry. If you make it sound like it sounds like
Abhi is my hubby. Okay, let's see how infantile we can make our conversation now for the next 10 minutes.
Hubby.
We are trying to appeal to the 17-year-old demographic right now.
He's already switched off because I told him to get into the watchman business. And then I went on a rant about Malabar Hill. So you have to understand, he's all gone now. He's like, that mad uncle, I have enough of them in my house. I don't need to see this guy. All right. Listen, Abhi, it's been great, but I have to walk dogs, man. My life is just the same story.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody's
God bless. Yeah, I know. Cheers.
I really had a lot of fun, being here.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Thank you so much. You were great. See you.
Thank you, sir.
Bye. Bye, Silvery.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, catch us on any of the podcasting apps, please. We beg you, we need you. Send us your questions on Twitter on Cyrus Says In, or you can email us, even if you're not female, on whatcyrussays@gmail.com.
Are you constantly seeking happiness? Wondering how to make the most of every day? How not to let your inhibitions stop you from achieving your goals? It's now time to get your A game on. It's time to unlock your true potential. Tune in to the Empowering series with me, Zarina Poonawalla, to feel empowered in all genres of life. From behavioral skills to management skills. From health to relationships. From mental well-being to emotional well-being. And of course, your finances. I've got you covered. With these tips and tricks from me, Zarina, and true life stories from my amazing guests, you're bound to bring your purest to the table. Tune in to the Empowering series with Zarina Poonawalla every Thursday on the IVM Podcast app, website, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
How many times have you motivated yourself to improve your sleep, or lose weight, or be more productive? How many times have you failed? Hi, my name is Ashton Doctor. Tune into my show, The Habit Coach Podcast, where we focus on creating small, tiny habits to improve your life instead of those big, impossible tasks. So make listening to me a habit every Monday, Wednesday and Friday on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com or on your favorite podcasting app.